To me, this is what an artist is. Whether you're a musician, a painter, I don't care what.
Come on.
45 years of playing with people like Duane Allman and Barry Oakley and Dickie Betts and people, I mean, some of the greatest musicians in the world.
Wilson Pickett gave him this name, Skyman. I said, hey man, you Skyman, Duane Allman? He looked at me, he goes, you're J. Johnny Johnson. I said, yep. I discovered the jazz shit that I was looking for in muscle shoals in Duane.
When you play improvisational music, you really are reaching to channel the collective energy, and you're listening to everybody else, and it's a combustible situation.
Something about the improvisational aspect, where you just let your mind go free and you're with it in the musicians, and the whole crowd is just, you know, with you in it.
Play the stuff for Duane and see what he thinks about, if there's any songs on that he like, or what he thinks about Johnny Jenkins. Avery told me, he said, the only thing Duane said to me was, he said, who's the drummer? He said, oh, that's J. Johnny. He said, you think he'd play in my band?
You know, we're jamming all night, you know, up till, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And everybody here, it's a family aspect.
When Duane would get through with a session, he'd roll that fucking twin, man. He'd roll it out of that studio, roll it where I was at, and fire that bad boy up. And the two of us, man, would be in there like, he said, man, well, Barry Oakley's gonna come down. He'll come down and spend a couple of days with us. And when Barry came, Barry had it.
It's kind of like what Dickie Betts always told me, they didn't have a bass player. They had two little guitars and one big one. Because my dad's style was so unique in his own way, especially for the time, one playing with a pick a lot like he did, and just real melodic, and he wasn't like a Duck Dunn or a James Jameson. He just didn't stick to the line. He played all over the place.
I said to Duane, I said, hey man, I said, why you want to have two drummers? He said, because James Brown has two drummers. He said, James got two drummers, I can have two drummers. And I went, cool man, shit, that's what you want.
If I could sum up our jam styles, in one word, as far as the groove, one would be momentum.
The Fillmore East changed my life, and I studied them like a book, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Allman Brothers were huge, if not the most influential band on me and my band, like, coming up.
But there's something about listening to the Fillmore East album for the first time, or listening to the Stony Brook performance for the first time, which was like 20 minutes from my house, and it's like, it's magic.
I've been playing guitar for 51 years, and the Allman Brothers dual set of guitarists, Duane Allman and Dickie Betts, kind of put me on a different path. Up until that point, I was listening to Lightnin' Hopkins, B.B. King, Freddie King, and I heard the Allman Brothers, and they kind of took me into a different direction. Speaking of dreams, I had a dream that I was on stage with the Allman Brothers, and I was about to play, and the whole dream amounted to me getting to the gig. So then I finally get there, and I'm about to play, and then Duane walks up behind me, and he's looking at me, and before I could actually hit a note, I woke up. And that was when I was a kid, I had that dream.
Oh, here's what Jimmy Cobb played, Dreams. That's no Cobb played on all blues. Nope, the fucking no. What fit, man? It didn't make any sense to do anything else with two drummers there.
But yeah, I mean, if people look to us as torchbearers, then that's great. I mean, yeah, you could say we're carrying the torch. We're playing music in the spirit.
And in our own way. Not trying to play what they played exactly how they played it, but take it forward and bring the energy forward so that it carries on, and what it represents is so beautiful and powerful, that moved us all so much in our lives.
When all three of them would get going, Butch, J-Mo, and Mark, and the whole thing would be crazy. Da-na-na, da-na-na. I'd literally, every night we play that, I would feel like if you could picture a guy running as fast as he can, and he's probably doing, 10 miles an hour, and there's a freight train behind him that's doing 11. You're like, it's just, it's going to crush you. And it's a thrilling feeling. They
got psychedelic rock. They got blues and R&B. They've got the jazz, John Coltrane and Miles Davis. They're bringing all these things together, Django Reinhardt, and making it their own.
Even as a kid, you see Gene Krupa play on TV, just knocked out by the technical stuff. And my mother used to let me sit up and watch TV, and I was in all that shit, man. Broadway and Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire and Duke Ellington, Count Basie, and man, just on and on and on. It never made sense to one day, I looked back and I went, God damn, that's what that shit was all about.
Look at the original Allman Brothers lineup. Those dudes were young, and that fire, that energy, and that is what it's all about.
Duane is the root of all the Allman Brothers stuff. Everyone knows that, and Butch was a part of it, and those original members, they helped create something special.
They're the hardest swinging rock band, period.
The Allman Brothers were intense, It was very serious business, and they took their music and the velocity of their music and the energy they put into it very seriously. He would just play,
And I've had cats tell me, say, man, I ain't never heard nobody play music like you guys are playing. And I never could understand that. I'm going, how the fuck can they say that?
That's why I call it riding the dragon, man.
The Freight Train Band, which was a band I was in with Butch, had their first official show at the Paramount Theater on Long Island.
Took me a minute after doing a bunch of shows with him to realize, wow, this is my dad's drummer. This is the guy my dad grooved with and, made all that magic with. And, after growing up with all the music and learning how to play it, it's like, as a bass player, it all made perfect sense once I played it with Butch because, he was the guy.
I really enjoyed Butch's Fishin' with Duane, the seminars and his stories, man. That was awesome. Yeah, they were clearly dear friends, and you could tell Butch missed him so much, even 40 years later or whatever. He would describe Duane like amping him up when they were playing and egging him on, like, come on, give it to me, and then Butch would give him like that. I was like, yeah, keep going, and they would sort of escalate. I think Luther and I kind of reminded him of that a little bit. Maybe that's why he liked to keep us around. Certainly Luther's slide playing, has a lot of that flavor.
One day, after sound check, I'm walking around the streets of some dingy town, and the phone rings, and it's Butch Trucks. I'm like, what's up, Butch? What's up? He's like, hey, you and your brother want to help me start this rock and roll camp? I was like, yeah. He's like, there's this place that we found up in Woodstock, and they've got it dialed in. And I was trying to figure out who I could partner up with, and you guys are perfect. He's like, I want to play drums with Cody.
I wanted to find someone who I respected and who would give me good advice. And I was just racking my brain, and I was like, Butch Trucks has been through what I'm going through and more, and he's been in a rock band his whole life. And, you know, of course, he's a great guy and a genius. And I was like, I need to talk to Butch. And a week or two later, I swear my phone rang out of nowhere, and it was Butch Trucks.
Roots Rock Revival is one of the things that my father was the proudest of. He loved coming here, and you know, in the first 2 years he would come here and he'd get back off the road and he'd call me and say, "Oh man, Baylor, you gotta go up there, it's so good." Once I did come up here and saw what he was talking about, I just made it my mission that first time that I was here to contribute as much as I could, to be as accessible as I possibly could, to impart enough of myself in the experience that I would get invited back. And so far that's worked out. Intellectually, I acknowledge that part of why I am here and accepted by the community at large is because who I'm related to. But I have tried my entire life to make a musical persona that could stand on its own.
Good music, it does something for people. And for the people playing it and the people hearing it. It's a community of souls that connect through something higher. It just feels like it's something I need to be part of. 'Cause there's a man down there now, might be your man, I don't know.
What's the biggest tribute? What's the biggest respect? What's the biggest honor that we can pay to Butch Trucks and Duane Allman and Greg Allman and Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks, and I mean it goes on and on. Barry Oakley Jr. and Woody, and I mean these guys that just paved the way.
But now I'm like the senior member here, and so I do feel like a kind of a paternal and maternal responsibility, you know, and it was scary until right after we did that panel without Butch and J-Mo, and then I saw it. I saw the future.
Well, I think the family members should definitely go first.
I was like, the future is, you know, me and Luther and Cody and Barry Oakley Jr. and Dwayne Betts and Lamar Williams Jr. and Devin Allman and Vaylor and Melody and Junior Mack and Graham Lesh, and you know, this family, as far as genetically and also spiritually, that's, and now Medeski starts with the church organ. God is good like that. Stuff like that happens to me all the time. It's like, cue the music, you know? I can't make this stuff up, man. It happens, and I got a witness. That was a moment. I think we're good.
That was a real moment there. I thought, am I really hearing that?
I know, man. It's great. Thank you. Thank you, Heavenly Family.
Should we let it go at that for now?
I don't know what more we can do than that.
I would love to keep this camp going at whatever cost, because I know how it impacted me as a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I know it'll inspire other 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds you know, in the future.
Thank you, everyone that played with us tonight. Duane, oh, bless you, man. That brought back lots of memories. Thank you.